If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson cries for every dime.
Welcome to Simply the Law, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Simply the Law provides free legal advice and encourages happiness and quality of life. Now, here's Simply the Law with Gary C. Johnson. Hello, everyone. Welcome into Simply the Law. I'm Keith Casebolt. My dear friend, Gary C. Johnson, good to see you.
It is wonderful to be seen.
Yes, it is, my friend.
Hi, guys and gals. How we doing? How's the world? Wonderful? You said no? Come on. It is wonderful. We're awake. We're alive. Ooh-wee. And I mean that sincerely, my friends, because it could be a whole lot worse, right? A whole lot. You forget, just like me, how lucky we are to have been born. We were born, we were chosen, we were given the gift of life, and we tend to want to squander that a little bit, don't we? By being miserable, by fighting, by pouting around. Assuming if somebody's done something to us, and they don't even know anything about it, making an assumption, taking everything personal because we are so important. It must be about us, right? We are so important. So if anything goes wrong, we take it personal. After all, it was definitely directed toward us. And not only that, they are talking about us, aren't they? They're watching. I got your attention? Huh? Be happy. Pay attention to that stuff. You are important to the Lord because He made you. Do you need anything else? Most important being in the universe, you're important to Him. And you worry about what Joe down the block thinks about you, or somebody else thinks about you, or whether they think you're important. Pretty silly, isn't it, when you think about it? Because you are important. Very important. And don't ever let anybody diminish that about you in any way, not even this much. Otherwise, you have said to the good Lord, hey, you didn't know what you were doing. I'm really not important. And guess what? He knows what He's doing. He knew what He's doing when He created you and gave you the gift of life. And He knew to Him you would always be important. So those of you that have let somebody put you down, made you feel bad, hurt your feelings, slighted you, both real and imagined, it's okay. You are important. And you had a role to play in life or you would never have been born. You have a unique talent in life that you need to find if you haven't found it. In fact, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that tonight, because I'm not going to waste a lot of anybody's time on that old law, right? I want to talk about some stuff that matters.
Before you get started into anything, as you were doing this opening, I was thinking, recently I heard an individual talking about a slight that had happened 25 years ago. And this individual was holding on to that. And the whole time I was listening to it, I thought about your teachings, and I thought to myself, there's no way that this other person has any clue that they ever did a slight 25 years ago, or that what they said was a slight, or the fact that it would be held on to for this long. And I thought, that is a lot of stuff to carry around.
That's a lot of ego to carry around, thinking you're that important. That's what it is. To think that someone gave you a slight and that they're hanging on to it for 20 years, not going to happen. I can't remember any slights, not even 2 days ago, let alone trying to hang on to one for 20 years.
The reason I'm over here laughing is because Gary, when first time he ever said it, I laughed so hard I cried. He said, I'm sure there's people that don't like me. I just can't remember who they are. I'm sure there's people that have said bad things about me. I just can't remember what they've said. I'm just too busy being happy to remember all that stuff.
It's the truth. I don't remember. People that have tried to mess over me, I'm sure they have. I don't remember who they were. Don't want to remember who they were. Otherwise, I'd have to take a little bit of my time to be mad at them, and I don't have time to be mad at them. I got living to do. I got life to live. I mean, the good Lord didn't put me here to stay mad at them. The good Lord put me here to have a good time, and I have a good time, and I'm going to be happy. I mean, bottom line. And my folks, you'd be amazed how much your life changes when you adopt that attitude. So I'm just passing it on to you. I strongly recommend you consider doing it. Just forget it. If you've been slighted, forget it, real or imagined, and go on your way and live life. It's amazing the difference it will make in your life. And after all, what else matters? Huh?
That's it.
How you feel matters, and that's it, right? Now, you can't make anybody else happy. You can have them say, oh, you make me so happy. You believe it? Nah.
What was the quote you had the other day? We were on the radio, and Gary had a quote which I still love, but it was to all the young ladies of the world.
Would you like the quote?
Please give that one.
If you can't change the diapers, ladies, you can't change them. So don't marry somebody thinking you're going to change them is what that.
So if they're not wearing diapers,
If a man's not wearing diapers, you can't change them.
That's right. That was the best quote because that took a whole big burden off of everybody, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, no, there's some that still think they can change them. But you got to do something. You got to have something to do. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We're going to go to the computer, and I'm going to talk to you about some stuff.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I always like the way that Gary starts off the program because no matter what you've encountered during the day, it kind of takes that stress level off when you hear him talk about how appreciative we should be just to be here. And we appreciate you for being there tonight watching this program. Stay with us. Gary C. Johnson, Simply the Law, right after this.
I'm attorney Gary C. Johnson. I hate these commercials as bad as you do. I have no choice if I want to let you know that I'm in the business of practicing law, representing injured people, except to do this commercial. I don't fish, I don't golf, I get money for injured people. Check my record, go to GaryCJohnson.com, and I'll bet you if you've been hurt, you might want to give me a call.
Welcome back in to Simply the Law. You know, I love the way you open the program because, as you stress so many times, it does feel good to feel good. And you have told me also, in no uncertain terms, Keith, if you like reality television, watch life around you, watch the world, watch the people you encounter. It is the greatest form of reality television.
Especially if you're watching Keith.
Sweat under these hot lights. And there's a reason for that.
Oh, okay.
It's called 10 pounds.
Okay, let's go to the computer. I want to talk to you folks about some stuff. If any of you get hurt in Lexington or have friends get hurt in Lexington, I've got a Lexington office. You can just call my Pikeville office and get it, or you can call the Lexington office number. My primary office, naturally, is in Pikeville, and that's where you'll find me. Our number is 800-337-4002. www.GaryCJohnson.com is our website. In general, my friends, make sure you have the underinsurance that protects you and your family on your car insurance policy. Next, don't ever sign a document agreeing that any dispute will be settled by arbitration for any nursing home or hospital. You don't have to sign them. When they put all that paperwork in front of you, you may get confused. Be careful, look, make sure it does not say the word arbitration. You have given up your right to hold them accountable if you do that. Now, what we're going to talk about, there's this book by John C. Maxwell, and it's the Maxwell Daily Reader. And he has some things in it that I just thought I might want to share with my friends. One is the lens section on page 6. Now, what does that mean? Lens. You are your lens. And what do I mean by that? And I will give you an example of what I mean by that. This is a parable. A traveler near a great city asked an old man sitting by the road, "What are the people like in this city?" The old man replied, "What were they like where you came from?" The traveler replied, "Horrible, mean, untrustworthy, detestable in all respects." The old man replied, "You will find them the same in the city ahead." A second traveler stopped and asked the same old man about the people in the city. The old man replied, "What were they like where you came from?" The second traveler replied, "They were fine people, honest, industrious, and generous to a fault." At which the old man replied, "That's exactly how you will find the people here."
So, Gary, I love that story. Basically, you're telling us what we perceive things are going to be, inevitably, they're going to turn out to be that way. If we have a negative attitude about everything, then everything in our lives is going to come up negative.
If you have a positive attitude about everything, more likely than not, everything will turn out positive because it is how you perceive it. It may be that it didn't turn out positive, but if you perceive it as positive, who cares, right?
Yeah.
Because the issue is how do you feel? And how do you deal with it? Not the rest of the world, but you. Because you are responsible for your own happiness and nobody else's. And if you choose to look at what's going on around you in a positive way, then you will feel good. And you will be positive, and more likely than not, positive things will happen in your life. If you choose as the lens to life negativity, distrusting, all of those things that come with negativity, then guess what will happen to your life? You will be behind your back called Mr. Negativity or Miss Negativity.
Yeah.
And you will be miserable because there will be no joy in your life. And if you can eke out a little bit of joy, why not take it? Now, if it's unfounded, so what? You got it.
So,
in other words, it feels better to trust.
You told the story, and the story is a parable, but if I get you right, you're actually telling us this is a scientific fact, that if you're going around negative and you're saying, oh, this guy, good things always happens to this guy because he's happy-go-lucky, but you can't figure out why good things are not happening to you. You're saying it is because of the attitude.
The attitude. I learned this lesson here from my son when he was 4 years old. And I'll have to tell this story again. I've told it a few years ago on this program. I think I need to tell it again. My son, when he was 4 years old, was playing every day with the little girl next door. And one day, the little girl went off and played with another little boy in the community. And I come home and I asked my son, well, how'd it go today? He said, terrible, awful, Dad, I've been betrayed. And then he named her and he said, she didn't play with me today. She went over and played with this other little boy. And I thought about it for a minute. I said, did you trust her to play with you? He said, I did. I trusted her to play with me. I looked at him and I said, well, are you going to trust her again anymore? Just a simple question, right?
Right.
You feel like you've been betrayed, or you want to trust her? And he thought about it. And he looked me in the eye, and he was dead serious. He said, yeah, I'm going to. Now, big old dummy me, what did I say? I said, why would you trust her if she betrayed you and went off and played?
She's over at Timmy's across the street right now playing with him.
Yeah, why would you trust her? And he looked me in the eye and he said, "It feels better." He didn't care what was going on. The only thing he was concerned with is how's he going to feel. And if she starts playing with him again, he's going to trust her because it feels better. That was the most valuable lesson I believe I've ever been taught in my life. And that's exactly what they're talking about here. Whatever it is that makes you feel better is how you need to perceive it.
And no doubt, this story goes on that he and she played together many days after that, and he got the enjoyment of doing that because he didn't write her off because she went across the street and played with the other kid.
Even though he felt like he'd been betrayed.
Wow.
He had sense enough to know that what mattered was how he felt. And really, that was a lesson that I learned. And I've cherished that lesson because it is true. The issue is look and perceive things in a way that makes you feel good. And then you've not wasted any of your dash that day when you do that. And when you perceive things that make you feel bad, then you've wasted a little bit of that dash, and it's gone.
And you know, Gary, what a great lesson, because your young son, CD, the next day could have said, "Oh no, I'm not going to play with you because you left me yesterday," and the only person that would have been punished would have been him.
And he'd have been miserable.
He'd have been miserable. He had lost a friend. He'd lost out on the play date.
But he had enough sense at 4 years old to know, so what? I'm going to do what makes me feel good. I'm not going to worry about the rest of the world. Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
You know, what a great lesson that was. And that's coming from a 4-year-old. And I'll guarantee you, maybe we, or maybe we know someone that could use that same lesson right now. It just feels better to feel better. Stay with us. Gary C. Johnson and Simply the Law right after this.
Insurance companies will test lawyers to see if they know what they're doing. Luckily, they tested me. And because of that, over the years, I've been able to get verdicts for my clients in excess of $315 million in the state of Kentucky, most of which are just in eastern Kentucky. We proved we know what we're doing. We proved we can go in front of a jury. And guess what? Most of my cases settle now. Wonder why? Give us a call.
Welcome back into Simply the Law. We were just talking during the break, and I'll guarantee you every one of us know of a couple of people that have gone on the same trip. One has come back and said, "Oh my goodness, what a beautiful place, heaven on earth." And then the other person has come back and said, "I would never go again. I hated it. It was pure hell." And it was the same place.
Same people.
Just what you're saying here.
It's all about your. Let's go back to computer. Got a few little things to share with my friends. The way people see others is merely a reflection of themselves. Did it hit home with some of you folks? Huh?
Ouch. Ouch.
If I'm a trusting person, I will see others as trustworthy. If I'm a critical person, I'll see others as critical. If I'm a caring person, I will see others as compassionate. If you change yourself and become the kind of person you desire to be, you will begin to view others in a whole new light. Now, that is an absolute fact.
Let's stop right there and talk about that. Everything that you just read off there comes back to you. So if you see people untrustworthy, if you see them not worthy, all this, it is the reflection of how you're feeling yourself.
That's who you are. We are the lens, remember. And how we perceive things around us is coming from inside of us.
So it goes back to the old saying, show me a man that doesn't trust anyone, and that's the guy I don't trust. Is that it?
Well, he knows people aren't trustworthy because he's not. That's what it's saying there.
Yeah.
So, folks, just remember the lessons we're teaching today. You are in charge of your life. You are in charge of your happiness. You are in charge of how you perceive things around you. And to you, perception is reality. In other words, it may be the biggest thug in the world, and if you perceive them as honest, to you, they're honest. What else matters? Now, it doesn't mean you go trust them with your stuff. You know, you trust but verify. But it's how you choose to perceive what is in front of you and deal with it is where your peace of mind and your happiness will come from. Let's go back to the computer. Okay, yeah, I've been wanting to talk about this, and I've talked about it some before, but I'm going to talk about it more tonight because this is important. I believe this with all of my heart that you have a strength, every single one of us, everybody, every person. There are studies that every person alive can do at least one thing better than 10,000 other people.
Wow.
Think about that. Now, the question, my friends, to you is, have you discovered your ability and your thing that you can do better than 10,000 other people? Because that's the secret to your happiness and your success. That's the secret to it. You got to discover that strength and ability because you have it. No
Now,
question about it.
Gary, and I think we all fall into this, people are going to say, Gary, that doesn't apply to me. I'm the one person that can't do anything better than 10,000 other people. You're telling them they're wrong. They do have an ability or a hidden talent that others have recognized, but they may not be aware of how good they are.
They've done study after study after study on this. And it is an absolute fact of all the people in the world, you can do something better than 10,000 of them. Period. They can do something better than 10,000 other people. Everybody has a strength. When we were created and the good Lord put us on this earth, He didn't mean for you to starve. He didn't mean for you to do without. He meant for you to have the ability to survive. Therefore, He gave you a strength. Okay? Now,
You know, that reminds me of the lady Susan Boyle. Do you remember that lady who came out on the singing competition? I think she was in her mid-40s, almost 50. And she had said, well, people said I could sing, but I never did believe them. She opened her mouth, and this lady was unbelievable. But she had gone all of these years and never tried to make a career out of it because she didn't think she was that good.
it was our perception of herself. Dangerous. Let's go back to the computer. I've got a few more things I want to say to you about this stuff. Okay? Never focus on a person's weakness, even yours. Help them find their unique ability and help yourself find yours. If you haven't found your unique ability, ask others to assist you in your search because they can see things you can't see. You may be too close to it. If you recognize a strength in someone, tell them. They may not be aware that this is their unique ability. This is important, folks. This is real stuff here.
That is good.
Find what God created you to do and help others find what God created for them. And make this your saying. I will take control of my life. I will be the captain of my soul. I will be thankful for today and for everyone in my life. I will thank the Lord for a second chance every day. Now that's a fact, folks.
Boy, now that's a way to start a day, isn't it? Mm-hmm. If you can repeat that.
I can repeat it. I can put it back up on the screen. There it is. Look at that, folks.
Is it popping up? There it is. I will take control of my life. I will be the captain of my soul. I will be thankful for today, for everyone in my life, and I will thank the good Lord for a second chance every day. Gary, what a great way to start each day of your life.
Right. Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
You know, that's something, if you didn't write it down, we'll make sure that we get it on the website. We'll talk about that so that you can go get it. When we come back, we'll close out the program. Gary C. Johnson and Simply the Law right after this.
You notice on the legal advertisement of lawyers that they've made verdicts an issue? Well, guess what? This old boy from eastern Kentucky's got the largest verdict in the state of Kentucky, and nobody's even come close to it. Over my career, I've got my clients verdicts of over $315 million. Yep, I'm glad they made verdicts an issue. Check my record and I'll bet you decide it might be wise to give old Gary a call.
Welcome back into Simply the Law. Gary, before we leave, the story you told about your son with his little playmate, one of the big factors was the next day when she was out in the yard, he reached out and said, hey, do you want to come over and play? She didn't even know that she had done anything wrong. So I think that's a major point to our friends,
That's right,
that they may need to pick up the phone tonight or reach out and call
Absolutely.
that person and say, how about we get back together and have a play date?
Because it's those imagined slights that are the worst thing in the world. Because when you have an imagined slight, the person that allegedly did it don't know it, and they can't fix it because they don't know how, because they don't know what it is. Let's go back to the computer for just a second. I want to talk to you about something. Motorcycles. This is important. If you've got a motorcycle or know anyone that has a motorcycle, have them check their insurance policy. Because in a car, the insurance agents are required to put personal injury protection, the 10,000 no fault, on your car. They are not required under Kentucky law to put it in your policy of insurance on your motorcycle. You can buy it for your motorcycle, but you have to ask for it. So, look at your policy on your motorcycle and make sure that you have that personal injury protection, that $10,000 that's there for you. If you get out and wreck your motorcycle and get hurt, you're going to need that $10,000 in medical or wages or whatever really bad. So it's not automatically on your motorcycle policy. I just want you to know that. So if you know anyone's got a motorcycle, go check their insurance policy, because it probably, more likely than not, will not have the personal injury protection on it.
And the sad thing is there's no fender benders when it comes to motorcycles. If you have a wreck, you're going to be seriously hurt.
You're going to need that $10,000 really bad if you wreck. And I've heard people wreck on motorcycles sometimes. It's just, a wives' tale or urban legend, but I've heard that people wreck on it.
And yeah, my friend, thank you. I really enjoyed this story about your son, CD, and I hope everyone else did too. Thank you so much for tuning into this program. It means a lot to Gary and me both, I can tell you that much. As always, Gary and I look forward to seeing you again next week, right here at this very same time.
Thank you for watching Simply the Law, a program created by Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.